Rant summer is here. Head on over to AJsRANTroom.com. We got all of your summer needs covered. From bathing suits to swim trunks, flip-flops and tote bags, towels, tanks, and muscle shirts. Oh, and you can't forget about the visors and the hats. It's lit. So head on over to AJsRANTroom.com and get your summer poppin'. You won't be disappointed. It's always lit over at AJsRANTroom.com. We got the best bags and accessories, our beloved Black Series. We got fresh lids for you hat lovers, fire jackets and hoodies, and of course we got you covered on the t-shirts. And introducing our first shoe line, Aloysius Germain. So get on over to AJsRANTroom.com today and get to shopping. You won't be disappointed. Oh, yeah. What's good? What's good? Turn me up. I can barely hear myself. And I'm sure the layer of fabric between my ears and the headphones is contributing to that. What's the word, everybody? How's everybody doing? Hope happy Friday. All's well. Hailer, everybody. Hope everybody is prospering and having an amazing Friday, and hopefully you got some dope plans for the weekend. But anyway, we got a few things to cover today, so let's get started. This man has a lot of money because I don't. Anyway, James Carville comes a groveling back and apologizing to Melania Trump. Homeboy, he accused her. Well, he anyway. Just read it. Melania Trump earns groveling apology from James Carville after challenging false Epstein connection. Oh, here we go. First Lady Melania Trump triggered another public apology from the media on Thursday after a Democrat operative launched a false claim. I mean, they do that a lot, don't they? Democrat strategist James Carville was forced to apologize for accusing her of being introduced to Donald Trump by convicted financier and pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. The Politics War Room podcast hosted by Carville and journalist Al Hunt revealed in a public message that during an episode with leftist journalist Judd Legum about Epstein, comments made about the First Lady were incorrect. Quote, "We took a look at what they complained about and we took down the video and edited out those comments from the episode," the message read, noting that they received a letter from the First Lady's lawyer. "I also take back these comments and apologize. I apologize." The message from Carville concluded. The video was labeled on YouTube "The Epstein Connection Between Trump and Melania." Um, okay, I get, making clickbait because this is what these people do, but it's a fine line. It's a fine line. Lots of lawsuits flying these days, but which was promptly removed and edited after hearing from the first lady's lawyer. The comments from Carville were deleted before the Daily Mail could verify exactly what was said in the video. The first lady posted screenshots of the apologies from Carville on her X account without comment. Hold on. This is what happens when you don't put stuff on Do Not Disturb. Praise the Lord. Now we are. Leave me alone, people. I'm trying to podcast here. The first lady posted screenshots of the apologies from Carville on her X account without comment. Mrs. Trump drew praise from her legions of fans on social media. Look at this decrepit. Ugh. Look like he smelled like cavities and coffee. Oh God. Great work. These people are despicable liars, wrote one person. In my opinion, people like James Carville know exactly what they are doing. Exactly. They do know exactly what they're doing when they create videos like that, and they should know what not to say. It's not his first time on video talking. If it were me, I would sue them if possible. They'll understand that. What a great woman, never looking for the limelight. But if you step on her toes, she'll break your foot. And that is absolutely, Melania is not to be messed. Even Ivana Trump, Trump don't, he marry no punks. I don't know about the Marlon Maples one, but the other two, yeah. The First Lady's office also threatened legal action against the Daily Beast earlier this week, which earned a retraction and a rare apology from the news outlet for making the claim, based on a statement from discredited source Michael Wolff that Epstein introduced the couple. After the story was published, the Beast received a letter from First Lady Melania Trump's attorney challenging the headline and framing of the article, a Daily Beast editor wrote in a statement. After reviewing the matter, I'm sorry, in my corporate voice. After reviewing the matter, the Beast has taken down the article and apologizes for any confusion or misunderstanding, the statement concluded. Mrs. Trump revealed in her memoir that she met Donald Trump at in a September 1998 Fashion Week party at the Kit Kat Club in New York City. The Trumps were engaged in 2004 and married on January 22nd, 2005, at a very rich place, Bethesda by the Sea Church. It is very fancy. If you've so yeah. Here's the thing, people. We're gonna be talking about lawsuits a couple times today. And just I understand you don't have to like Trump. Wait, it's Ivanka? Ivanka's the daughter, right? Ivana is the wife, right? Was the wife. It was Ivana, right? And then Ivanka is the daughter, right? You read Melania's book? Melania. I didn't read the book, but I'm sure it was good. I'm sure it was a good read. These people are just gonna keep making up stories, and this is why every time we're in a live stream and every time we're doing something, we're saying anything happens. Oh, you support a pedophile. Oh, how does it feel living a child molester? Oh my God, you voted for a rapist. Meanwhile, these are all the people who are the rapists, the child molesters, who have child pornography on their hard drives. But Donald Trump's the problem. Always look for the loudest ones. The loudest ones are the ones usually doing the crime, right? They're yelling and screaming, and you're the problem. No, you're the problem. You're the problem, sir. It's ma'am. Move me over. It's ma'am. Anyway, where are we? Oh, here we go. So, Apparently, Jasmine Crockett is a mean girl. Like we didn't know that already. Um, three of her staffers have turned on her. They allege Crockett is an abusive boss, and she berates them and belittles them and curses them out. And really, we wouldn't have known from all of the Jasmine Crockett presentations. We would have never known she treated her staff poorly. Hold on, I need water. Ay. All right, I'm back. Apparently, well, actually, let's just because all of this is mentioned in the actual article. Uh, I'm gonna pop some tags. All right, there we go. Why did it not? Oh, why did it go over there? So odd, so odd. Anyway, um, Diva Crockett slammed in scathing report alleging toxic staff environment where staff is berated to tears. First of all, if I'm in a corporate environment where you are berating me to the point where I'm crying, you will never see me again. It ain't no amount of climbing the ladder. You should never be beat down just to have a job or be successful. Like I get it, being a firm boss, being a tough boss, but there's a difference between firm and tough, and just being reckless, which. But I'll go over my experiences in corporate America with the Jasmine Crockett's of the world in a moment. Democrat Rep. Jasmine Crockett, one of the most prominent anti Trump voices in Congress, is the subject of a scathing report this week that labels her a, quote, diva and someone who terrorizes staff members. Several congressional aides who work for or with Crockett told the New York Post this week that Crockett, 44, described the firebrand Congresswoman as rude. Oh, really? And rarely present in her Washington, D.C. office except when the cameras are rolling. She is laying around her apartment, won't come into the office, and is really just indifferent to the staff and will scream at them, one aide told the outlet, adding that Crockett is, quote, never in the office and very disengaged. The former staffer added that Crockett freaks out over the most random things. Really, hadn't noticed. we hadn't seen that behavior in the chambers before. Another source that is widely known that the Crockett mistreats staff and is a diva that is focused exclusively on being an influencer. You ain't telling us nothing we don't know already, but thanks for confirming it. Of course. I mean, when this woman literally brought up social media followers when it came to being a committee chair. What the hell does your social media following have to do with you legislating? With you, your job is to be a lawmaker, not a social media influencer. But anyway, Crockett, who has served in Congress as a representative from Texas since 2023, regularly goes viral for her criticisms of Trump and has called him a piece of shit and a, quote, enemy of the United States. The Congresswoman is also known for blasting Trump during committee hearings in speeches that often go viral. The report goes on to say that Crockett usually works from a luxury office building instead of her office and is known for requiring staffers to drive her short distances in a rented car rather than their personal car, which is typically the method used to save costs. Y'all all paying for this, right? During those trips, according to the New York Post, Crockett demands the rented car has to be an Escalade or something similar, and staffers are told to open the door for her. This is a public servant, y'all. Public servant acting like she's Mariah Carey. Ah, the staff is really just an island unto itself because she doesn't care about the local issues happening in her district. Of course she doesn't. She's all about her being a national figure. A source told the New York Post she's more focused on get me on The View, get me on this late night talk show. Crockett made headlines last year for criticizing the appearance of GOP rep Marjorie Taylor Greene using the term, quote, butch. Wait, what was it? Bleach blonde butch body? Is that what it was? It was something like that. Anyway, according to the report, gay staffers in Crockett's office took issue with the term, and Crockett dismissed their concerns. Oh, really? I'm so shocked. That's not offensive, Crockett said, according to a former aide. You're stupid if you think so. Damn. I love when these people go telling things to the press. The report goes on to say that Crockett has burned staff members at a rapid pace due to a, quote, toxic staff environment, and that has left Black female staff members feeling a lack of empowerment. You know who also said this working for Kamala Harris? Simone Sanders. I don't y'all know who Simone Sanders is. She was Biden's campaign manager, I think, and then she became Kamala's chief of staff, I think, something like that. But she said she'll never work for a woman again. She was like, I will never work for a woman again. She's like, I can't do it. And I'll tell you why. I'll probably never work for a woman again. But at one point, Crockett reportedly made a staff member cry, saying, "Do you really want to be here? And if not, you can leave." And I can imagine she said it in that really disgusting tone, just nasty. Like she said it to the point where your soul leaves your body. It was very vindictive. I already know. I could hear it. Crockett was criticized earlier this year when she appeared to board a flight while skipping ahead of two passengers in wheelchairs in an incident that is reportedly indicative of her overall personality. Quote, her cutting in line in front of a handicapped person is, oh, well, why are you repeating it? Like, we don't need to repeat it. Anyway, so listen, do you think a person who is so obsessed with their appearance, the wigs, the eyelashes, the makeup, the nails, I mean, the doing the most with the grooming, right? That's one thing to, be groomed and look nice. No one's saying you gotta look like, Herman Monster, but it's one thing to, want to be presentable. It's another. You can see in all of this. The wig is an insecurity. The eyelashes are an insecurity. The heavy makeup is an insecurity. She is putting on a mask for the world. She would never walk out of the house with her natural hair out. She would never walk out of the house with no lashes on. She would never walk out of the house with no makeup on. She probably sleeps in makeup. I wouldn't be surprised if she did. It screams insecurity. When you're that loud and bombastic just to be, you're just projecting your insecurities on everybody because you don't have to be mean to people to get stuff done. You don't have to mistreat your staff members to get stuff done. And this is what I found often working with women in corporate America, who especially in managerial positions, is they think that taking on the traits of a man means being the biggest asshole you can be, and that's not an effective leader. Being mean to people is not leadership. That's personal issues. That's you need therapy. That's you need help. You need to work something out. But being an asshole to folks and thinking they won't eventually talk is crazy. And so when I was in corporate America, so I had two female uh, bosses, both black, and they were okay to me, but there was a third one, right? So the I think one of them went on vacation or something, or there was like a special program or something, and she was in charge of it. The third black woman was in charge of it, and there was like I don't remember what the emails were about, but we were talking about some logistical something something. And so she starts like you could tell when it gets to the point where someone's trying to like, yeah, I run this basically. She wasn't saying that in the email, but that was like she was trying to make sure. And I'm like, yo, I'm not trying to take over anything. I'm just trying to clarify what this is. And she's like, well, you're gonna go and you're gonna do this and and I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm trying to remember. I don't remember what I said. I wish I actually still had those emails. I would actually read them on the air. And she took offense. So the next time we were in the office, mind you, you would think I was the manager. So I'm just like, I'm the one pulling her into an office to talk to her. Shouldn't you be doing this? So I pull her to the office and then, just want to clarify because, I just want, let's just clear this up so we can move on, right? You know, nope, nope. She never moved on. She never moved on. She literally, yes, per my last, I don't miss corporate America. If you know, you know. Per my last email. And it's like, Jesus, is this really personal? Um, and she was basically barely spoke to me ever again. And it was just like, this isn't personal. This is personal. I don't, whatever. Anyway, so eventually, this is after I left. This is after I left New York, everything. She sued the company, got a payout for harassment and blah 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 blah. Now, the through line between the three black women was that they all had a problem with the second in command in our department. And the second in command in our department was a white woman. Now, she was very detailed. I will say that. She took notes for everything, like everything. Like I'm surprised she didn't document bathroom breaks. That's how detailed this woman was, right? And I get it because if something goes down, you have to be able to account for a lot of things, right? And if you and it could be the one day that you slip up and didn't notate something, and then that's the thing that they need, right? That's pretty much that's how I viewed it, right? And so they had it, they just could not, they just couldn't stand her. They just couldn't and I'm like, what? And in my mind, always was saying, why is this so personal? Why is this so personal? Why you feel the need to gossip and mistreat we're in a work environment, you know? And they're just like, you're always just like cool about because I'm at work. I don't internalize any of this and take it home. I'm at work. I can work with you. Even if I don't like you, I can work with you. I don't know. Maybe I'm just built different. Or maybe I'm just a man. Is that it? So it's all this emotions and estrogen and you're just like, What is this?" And then they feel like in order to prove they're a boss, they gotta like pull out their plastic dick and measure it against yours. And I'm like, bro, it's not even that serious. We're on a team. And sometimes the wires get crossed and you figure it out. You uncross the wires and you keep going forward. You don't take it personal and just have a gripe for the rest of your career in life. Anyway, so both the two black women ended up quitting. That were my former bosses, my former managers, and this is corporate America. This is why they hesitate to hire us because they're always afraid they're going to get sued, or there's going to be some sort of HR problem, or they're going to have to pay out. They're going to have to wait. It says I lost connection. Check, 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 check. Can y'all still hear me? It said I lost connection. I don't know if I'm still connected though. I'll wait till I get the first we can hear you. Check, 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 check. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Hey. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Can y'all hear me? Y'all hear me out there? We good out there? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Yes, froze for a sec, but I'm back. I'm back. Okay, cool. All right. So let's move on. Let's move on to our favorite mayor, this lunatic. Oh man. Yeah. So Mayor Johnson just continues to prove his incompetence. He continues to really not surprise us because we already knew this was coming because we knew he was a sloth and incompetent and had no idea what he was doing. But this is the people of Chicago. This y'all fault. Y'all hired this man.
Have reached a point of no return. The systems that people rely upon, education, healthcare, housing, our transportation, they are woefully underfunded. And everyone knows that. Everyone knows what, my commitment is to progressive revenue. I can't do this by myself.
The mayor's statement coming in response to
In other words, he has no idea what he's doing. He does not know how to balance a budget. He told you there will be no new taxes. Y'all got property tax, didn't y'all? Then y'all screamed in the city council meeting, and he didn't care. He did it anyway. Listen, when you have rogue progressive policies trying to give everybody free stuff, this is what you get. You get a budget you can't balance because you are way in over your head. And you want to resist getting illegal immigrants out of your city. Meanwhile, the citizens of the city don't want them there. But again, Chicago, you voted for this. You replaced Lori Lightfoot with the male and a dumber version of her. There's never any accountability. It's always some ridiculous excuse for something. And now he's sitting here telling you basically, I don't know how to balance the budget. So what are they probably going to do? Raise your taxes. They're going to find another tax that they can raise so they can get a little bit more of your money. And it's always very subtle. It'll be like, oh, taxes for people with purple nipples. And you're like, oh, cool. Like, y'all really need to give a Republican a try, Chicago. Like a real Republican, not like these, foo la la people. Like, give a Republican a chance, Chicago. Give them 2 terms. Give a Republican 2 terms. And I promise you, they will have you on the trajectory for success. A real Republican. You have to vet them. You can't just be picking people. You don't want a Herschel Walker. you want a real Republican. But this right here, we can't get the budget together. We don't know what we doing. Nah, we good, Sway. It's time to make better decisions, folks. Stop voting for people because they're black and because they have a D next to their name. Democrat and black does not mean they're going to get the job done. And y'all saw this man debate. I don't know how y'all saw. I watched the Chicago mayoral debate. I ain't voted a day in my life in Chicago. And I watched the Chicago mayoral debate. And I said, how could you vote? Why would you vote for this man? Why would you vote for this man? Not the big areola tax. Anyway, so moving on. Jesus. You read that right. Coming to a theater near you. The Tea people have gotten their way and they have used taxpayer-funded dollars to make New York the first city to have a trans only shelter. Very, very interesting. Where's the article? Do 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 do. There we go. Boo boo boo. Hold on. That's why you don't have a producer. You got to make it work. Anyway, where are we? Here we go. Wait, is that correct? Oh, yeah, we're good. All right. New York City opens first publicly funded homeless shelter for transgendered people. New York City opened the country's first city funded, that's the operative term here, city funded shelter for transgender and gender non-conforming people experiencing homelessness. Ace's Place, which opened this week in Queens and will offer 150 beds, is a collaboration between the New York City Department of Social Services and Destination Tomorrow, an LGBTQ nonprofit in the Bronx. Ace's Place will provide transitional housing as well as other services, including individual and group counseling, planning and assistance for permanent housing, referrals to medical and mental health services, support groups, life skills, and financial literacy workshops and employment assistance. Destination Tomorrow is also developing a work study program for culinary arts for residents interested in working in the hospitality and food service industries, according to the press release from the nonprofit. Oh, I guess this is a look at the facilities. Look, um, we couldn't be prouder to make this historic announcement that strongly affirms our values and commitment to strengthening the safety net for transgender New Yorkers at a time when their rights are roundly under attack. Ooh, Molly Wassow Park, Department of Social Services Commissioner, said in a statement, quote, Ace's Place will offer transgender New Yorkers a safe place to heal and stabilize in trauma informed settings with the support of staff who are deeply invested in their growth and well-being. Sean Ebony Coleman, founder and CEO of Destination Tomorrow, said Ace's Place is a, quote, hard-fought declaration that our transgendered and gender nonconforming siblings will no longer be pushed to the margins. Quote, Ace's Place is a community-driven answer to system neglect, and it's only the beginning, Coleman said in a statement. Trans people disproportionately experience homelessness in part due to facing more employment discrimination. The 2022 U.S. Trans Survey, the largest nationwide survey of trans people with more than 90,000 respondents, found that 30% of respondents experienced homelessness in their lifetime. 11% of those who had ever held a job said that they had been fired, forced to resign, lost the job, or been laid off because of their gender identity or expression. More than one third, 34% of respondents were experiencing poverty. Look, if this is such an issue, Tony, if this is such an issue, why not rally the community together to raise the funds and open up your shelter? I don't have an issue with the shelter. I have an issue with how you funded the shelter. That's the issue, right? If you're going to pull on taxpayer dollars, taxpayers should have a say in it, right? So, and I'll get to that in a moment. But there's all of these pride parades that happen every June. Those ain't cheap. Paying all those artists to perform and the logistics of everything and all the permits you need, all of that, none of that stuff is cheap. It's a large scale event. The security, you got to pay the police overtime. All of that stuff is not cheap. So instead of throwing pride parades, why don't you funnel that money into things like this? Why don't you take the money and create programs like this? Create shelters for the transgender people if that's what you want to do. I'm with you to the point where to how you're going to pay for it is where we disagree. Because you know what also pisses me off? Because this is also the same city who just last year tossed homeless tax-paying men out of a shelter that was in a hotel to house illegal migrant families. Was there outrage for those men who were thrown out, who were told, oh, you have like a couple of days to figure it out? Yeah, contrary to popular belief, homeless people do pay taxes. You know, there are some homeless people who do work and just life happens, right? And you're figuring it out. But when you want to use city funds to pay for something, I can't cheer with you. But yeah, community. Yeah. There's millions and millions and millions of dollars in the community. So the community should pay for these shelters. But this is what happens. This is what I say, liberal policies. They will sit here and break your back in taxes and the cost of living and the cost of transportation. What if there's any I don't think she's in here today. But if there are any New Yorkers, what is the subway fare right now? I know it's some astronomical amount, and you're paying an astronomical amount for a service that never improves. The same, you know, what was so crazy? I think I visited New York like 7 years after I left. This same construction projects were going on the weekends. The same construction projects. So at this point, you don't realize that this is a Ponzi scheme and they're stealing your money. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Because at some point you got to wake the hell up and say, this ain't it. And until we see improvements, we're not taking this. We're not riding. We're not taking, because you're literally taking more and more money. You're upping the taxes, the rent, the price of groceries. $2.90 to ride the subway for a single fare on the subway. I remember when I lived in the Bronx, um, and I on the weekends I would go teach the poor kids in Brooklyn. That was my little charity work for the community. And sometimes it would take me like almost 3 hours because of construction to get to get to Brooklyn from the Bronx. Ridiculous. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. um, yes, I'm doing a great injustice by waking people up. Yeah, and telling them they don't need the government. Yeah, that's a great injustice. The bigger the government, the stupid your life is, right? Yeah, I said that, Jerry. And challenge what I'm saying, and don't insult me. Challenge what I'm saying. Hmm. You can't challenge what I'm saying. That's the problem. Anyway, moving on. These people get on my nerves. They will sit here and bitch and moan and bitch and moan and bitch and moan and bitch and moan, but I ain't the problem. You know, your government's the problem. I'm not putting y'all on the game. You know, Jesus, Shaylee. And I don't know if Pat is in here. I'm trying to figure out if you were accidentally muted. I'm trying to figure out if you were accidentally muted. Um, check, mic check. It said I lost connection again, so I'm just trying to see. Okay, well, we're just gonna keep going. I don't know what's going on with the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi. Oh man. All right, cool. We'll be back. All right. Listen. Um I know someone like the Candace Owens brigade have been in the chat because they're mad because um listen, I whatever. Um I have no issue with Candace Owens. She has a position in this thing, right? And that's her place. You know, I agree with her sometimes. I disagree with her sometimes. I think she's on the mark sometimes. I think she's batshit crazy in other moments. It's all about listening to comprehend, right? And a lot of people don't understand. A big part of communication is listening to comprehend. It's listening. It's not talking, right? And so people are like, why are you so quiet? Because I'm listening. I'm really listening to you. So I reported on the Brigitte Macron original lawsuit, right? When it originally went down, right? And I was like, okay, maybe, there's something to this. I mean, if you look at what Candace Owens dug up, it looks very valid. The source she was using looks very valid. And so I was like, why would these people go to the lengths? I just don't understand why the president and the first lady of a foreign nation would go to such an extent to disprove something, right? And it's very easy, right? You just submit a blood test. That's it. The blood test will tell us everything we need to know. I don't care about pictures. I don't care about birth announcements. Just do the part to disprove her, you know. And so there were folks, and she got into a little spat with Megyn Kelly, and then she retracted. But basically, the folks on Megyn Kelly were saying this could not go in her favor, Candace's favor, and they articulated it why. I should have had that ready to go too, but I don't. But I'll link it in the description after the show. Before.
Question about a pension.
What the hell? How did we get here? Remove. Remove. I don't even know how we got there. I don't know why it keeps disconnecting. I don't know. Today, this connection one, it's on its own. My Wi-Fi is protesting today. I'm gonna shut up. I was about to say something really ridiculous. All right, so here's Candace.
The more that I think about it, the more absurd it is. Now, the Trump administration, who purports to care about free speech, that was what they ran on. Of course, they're not doing any of that stuff anymore. They're creating DEI for Israel.
God. You gotta listen to the choice of words, people. So, a president of the most intricate nation on earth should drop what he's doing because you got yourself in a pickle that you could have easily just this could have just went away, right? This could have just went away, Candace. But you wanted to fight. Um, oh man.
And pushing through laws to redefine anti-Semitism, but they pretended to care about free speech. And you had JD Vance, who went over there to Europe and gave a whole speech, tisk tisk, to all of you European leaders that are no longer listening to what your constituents want and are instead punishing them for their speech. If the majority of your constituents think something, you can't create laws and punish them. Like, right? That was kind of the gist of his speech. Like, the markets have decided what they want, and now you're punishing these people. That's crazy, he said. America's going to be a leader. We don't believe in this. We won't support this. Then you have a literal European leader that is basically saying F you to the American Constitution, right? Emmanuel Macron and Brigitte are saying.
So, I don't think Brigitte and the president, I don't think they're beholden to the U.S. Constitution. Candace, sorry to break the news to you.
You know what? We don't like that podcaster in America. And we are going to launch a lawsuit that's never been launched before, an unprecedented lawsuit to impoverish her for speaking.
Just an FYI, it's estimated that Candace Owens and her husband have a net worth of $200 million. Just an FYI. So the word impoverished is a bit dramatic, a bit traumatizing, doing a lot. It's a bit melodramatic, Candace. Even you have to admit that.
And both JD Vance and Trump have not issued a statement. In fact, where are the journalists even asking them to make a statement?
Because we're dealing with tariffs and we're dealing with immigration and ICE agents being assaulted. We're dealing with wars, proxy wars that we're trying to solve that we probably have no business even trying to work with. We got real things before we get to the Candace Owens lawsuit over calling the president's wife a man. We kind of got a few things to get to first, Candace. I understand you have a beeline to the president. That's your homie. That's your dog. But he's running a country of 300 million plus people. I don't think the press really cares about this. Some press does, but I don't think they care about it to the point where they're talking about the one big beautiful bill in one breath, and then in the next breath they're asking about Candace Owens. It's not an even. It's not a fair exchange there. But maybe it is on his priority list, or maybe it's on his list somewhere, but it's not going to be near the top because it's not near the top of most Americans. Most of us don't care.
Okay, a state leader is speaking about your constituent and launching a lawsuit and saying you're going to impoverish them for executing the First Amendment right.
They're French again. If you make defaming comments to them, and now they know if they do take this to court, they have to open up Pandora's box. They have to show everything. She had literally, I don't know if y'all know a YouTuber named Tasha K, but she's like gossip, like she does like celebrity gossip and stuff. So she decided to take aim at Cardi B. Now, it's one thing to say, some little stupid gossip about Cardi B, but when you start saying she has STDs and there's, all these other issues, and Cardi gave her a warning. She said, take it down, just take down the videos and we cool. No, I want to be Sojourner Truth in the gossip space. I want to be Norma Ray in the gossip space. And so here she go. Kept the videos up. So Cardi said, fine, boom, lawsuit. Judge ruled that they rule in Cardi's favor. Cardi gets a $4 million what's the word? I'm blanking right now. Settlement. There you go. There's the word. A $4 million settlement. Now, Tasha K doesn't have $4 million. Tasha K then goes on to make a statement blaming other people, and it never took accountability. And then she tried to file for bankruptcy, and then that got rejected. So then she was still on the hook for the money. Then they made up they created a payment plan, and they got the settlement down to about $1 million something dollars. Again, you got the warning shot, Candace. They gave you the warning shot, and you said, no, I'm keeping it up. So if you're going to say these things about people and you believe that the information you have is solid, then you should have no issue. You should literally be able to go through the legal process. And with a $200 million net worth, I think you'll be okay. I don't think they're going to bankrupt you. Now, what they can do is what you did to Blexit, what you did to those black folks that had the name Blexit, where you starved them out to the point where they couldn't keep the retainer going. You could do that they might try that with you. But, we're not here to talk about that.
Where are you? If you are Trump, the first thing you should have done, if you purport to care about America and our Constitution, as you're supposed to be the person that's defending that day in and day out, you would come out and you would say, I don't even know whether I believe that she's a man or woman. Doesn't matter, right?
Why? Again, this is not a pressing issue. This is not pressing for the average American. The average American is trying to figure out life. And so therefore, him as president is trying to do his part in supporting that and protecting us American citizens. 330 million of us, whether we like him or not. You're not a priority, Candace. I know.
I didn't watch the series. Fair. He didn't watch the series. He could even say, like he said to me on the phone, that I looked at her real close on the Eiffel Tower and it looked like a woman to me. Okay, you can say all those things, but you should say it's unacceptable. I'm a leader of this country. It is unacceptable that this leader would threaten the First Amendment in any way.
Candace, just go to court. Go to court, win the suit. Go to court and win the suit. He doesn't have to do anything. Go to court and win the suit. I mean, if you have the smoking gun and you have the definitive proof and you are that girl, then there's no reason to be worried about whether Trump mentioned it or not, or if JD Vance mentioned it or not. People file lawsuits for all types of things every day. It goes with the territory. So you're being sued. You're going to have to pull out. You have to put out financially for this suit. Yeah, that's what happens, If someone is asking you to do something, even and you don't comply and they go forward with the lawsuit, then just go forward with the lawsuit. And then you can counter for your legal fees and everything, right? So why not? Why not? You're getting great press. You're on the international stage. You do big numbers. Why not? If you got the smoking gun, you should have no worries. But there's something not being said here. I believe there's something not being said here. But what's also not being said, but being said here is help me.
We don't need Pam Bondi rushing to issue a statement about a college male that's been shoved by a student for wearing an IDF shirt, okay? We don't need the federal government getting involved on something so meaningless. But we...
Rebecca. Yes, Candace is amazing. Never said that. I never said she doesn't stand up for pedophilia. Never said that. If you have if you have watched it from start to finish, go watch her podcast and have your own brain. Clearly, these are like trolls that probably she sent over here herself. Whatever, y'all. This is the clip where she talked about it implicitly. Like, there's no, if you don't hear like the 2 seconds before or after, it's just not telling it. Girl, go gaslight somebody else. Thank you, Prince. Literally, we on the same page. Oh, yes, yes. I appreciate all 47 people in here watching. Thank you to all 47 people in here watching. See, I don't give a fuck. This is called a startup, right? Everybody had a day one. Candace Owens had a day one. Oprah Winfrey had a day one. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Amazon had a day one. Now, could you imagine if on day one somebody said to Candace, well, you're not doing big numbers. You should just quit. So insulting my numbers, you ain't gonna get me, bitch. Yeah. The fuck? Thank you to all 47 people watching and 102 people if you count the people on X and Kick. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. I never said she wasn't ready for the fight, but if you're sitting here begging the president, then go do the fight. You shouldn't be worried about if Trump mentioned it or not. We got more pressing issues than Candace Owens getting sued.
We might need our federal government when it comes to this, okay? The job of the federal government is to defend us against foreign invaders. And I would pretty much say Emmanuel Macron right now is being a foreign invader. But no, they're silent. They are silent.
The nart. Anyway, so we don't go too far over time here today. So I want to share a couple of social media posts. So this is from Bad Hombre. It says Candace Owens in 4 stages. 1, laughs off Macron's lawsuit. 2, I'm confident in my well-sourced reporting. I have nothing to worry about. 3, Trump is a genocidal traitor and should be removed from office for treason. 4, please, Trump, save me now. Like, bro, come on. Pick a struggle. David J. Harris Jr. says, Candace Owens appears panicked as she calls the Macron's lawsuit a foreign invasion. I guess, Pearl Harbor, Candace Owens lawsuit. They're all going to be in the history books, y'all. Anyway, now she's begging for Trump and JD Vance to intervene, saying it's crazy that Trump's been silent on this matter. She also claims the Macrons want to, quote, impoverish her for speaking. Candace and her husband, George Farmer, have a combined net worth of estimated at over $200 million. 200 million. 200 million. You got money for the lawsuit. I know expenses are, expensing, but just go through with the lawsuit, Candace. I don't understand what this complaining is about. If you got a solid case, then go fight your case. I don't know what to tell you. But anyway. And I understand. And here's the thing, these people who come in here like screaming for Candace, this is the problem. You're a fan. I'm not a fan. I respect what she does, but I'm not a fan. You see, there's a difference. Now, there was a time I was a fan. And I'll tell a quick story. I went to the Blexit early in the Blexit thing. She was in they were in Los Angeles. It was her, Brandon Tatum, Rob Smith, several other conservative people who were big in the social media realm of the conservative movement were there. David J. Harris spoke that day, Jr. David J. Harris Jr. right there. He spoke that day, gave a beautiful prayer that day. I recorded it on my phone. Okay, it was cool. I didn't see enough black people in that Blexit audience to really be talking about a Blexit. But hey, it is what it is. But this is the problem. You're a fan. I'm not a fan. Kingface wasn't there that day. Kingface wasn't there. Rest in peace, Kingface. Rest in peace. Um, wasn't there. So it is what it is. And then it's sort of, because I was a conservative long before Candace Owens came along or Donald Trump or whatever. The only thing that Donald Trump and Candace Owens influenced is what I'm like, me being vocal about it, right? I just wasn't vocal. I'm in corporate America, just being in corporate America, living my life, doing what I do, But Tupac, shut up. Not Tupac. So yeah, that was the extent of it. And then as you sort of figure out who the players are and what they do in this movement and why they're here, you just kind of move accordingly, right? So it's not, I don't hate Candace Owens. I don't dislike Candace Owens. I've said it already. I respect what she does. Right. I don't agree with her all the time, nor should I. If you agree, this is why I tell people all the time, if you agree with somebody 100% of the time, you're in a cult. That's called a cult. The same thing with Trump. If I critique Trump in any way, the crazy, politically immature imbeciles who support him will come in here, and they don't care that I voted for him 3 times. They don't care. They don't care about that. They just care because Trump is supposed to do no wrong. You're looking at this wrong. You hired Trump to do a job. So yes, I'm not saying that she doesn't have the right to critique Trump on not speaking up about the lawsuit. That's not what's being said here. What's being said here is there are more pressing matters than going on the record with the press while you're boarding Air Force One to talk about Candace Owens and a lawsuit. Maybe it will come up, maybe it won't. Maybe this will be the jolt that pushes it into some media person's mind and they'll ask him about it. Maybe that's it. But ultimately, I just think there are more pressing matters. We got bigger fish to fry. But that DEI hire for Israel, that that was that was woo. Yeah. Anyway, I appreciate y'all for watching. Thank you so much. And please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share. If you would like to support the channel, you can roll over here to AJsRANTroom.com, AJsRANTroom.com. And that's it. I appreciate y'all for watching. Have a great weekend. And I will catch y'all on Monday. Oh, I'll be on TikTok today at some point. Oh, hold on. Wait. I'm messing this all up. The Rant Experience is tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on AJ's Rant Room. The Rant Experience will be tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the question is in our uncomfortable conversation, is abortion reparations? We'll talk about it. See y'all later. Peace.